You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 161 of East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell, and today I'm joined by producer Chris Guffey and co-host Dakota Davis.
Today's episode features the two of us, and it is the start of our candidate series. We have a special guest. Mrs. Bobbi Plummer is in the studio with us. She is running for commissioner of the Southern District of Henry County. In the Republican primary, which has been postponed. Everything's going crazy right now. We're going to talk a little bit about the craziness, but most importantly, we're going to talk about who is Bobbi Plummer, what she thinks should be going on in Henry County, what she agrees with, what she doesn't agree with, what made her decide to run for commissioner, things like Memorial Park, how the commissioners have handled the COVID-19 situation, current other things going on in county government, and then, of course, ending with the Henry County Jail and what she thinks about that. So make sure you stick around to the end.
This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you. Other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. Big shout out today. The candidate series is brought to us by Weiland's Flowers of Newcastle. Thank you very much to Weiland's for helping us out and making sure that the candidate series happens again this year.
That's right. Weiland's Flowers of Newcastle, Indiana. They have sponsored us in the past. They've been a great friend of the show. They are doing awesome things here in Henry County. I said in the Facebook post earlier that they've been doing contactless delivery since before it was cool, delivering your flowers to you, just dropping them off. They're still going strong right now. They are not going to have a prom season this year, so we know that they need your help, like all small businesses do. So make sure that you buy your wife some flowers, your girlfriend some flowers, maybe your husband even wants some flowers too. That might be nice.
I'd like some flowers.
Yeah, everybody wants some flowers. Weiland's also did both of our weddings. Mm-hmm. They did all the flowers for our weddings. They did a great job. And overall, a great friend of the community and a great flower company to work with.
Got to give a thank you to we talked a little bit with Bobbi earlier in the Patreon section and encourage everybody to sign up at any level over there. But if you're over $50 a month, you get special recognition on every show.
That's right. Those folks are Craig DaCosta, Jonathan Phillips, Christy Avery, and our great friend Chris Lamb from the Newcastle Career. Well, actually not anymore.
Formerly
of the Newcastle Career Center.
Emeritus. I think he has an emeritus.
Emeritus. Oh, okay. We also have our T-Chip stores, tchip.com/BHO01, 2 or 3. That's where you can get all of your sweet Boss Hog of Liberty merchandise, T-shirts, sweatshirts, all kinds of cool things, long sleeve tees. There's a note published on our Facebook page, and that is where you can find the links to all of these stores.
All right. So let's get to know Bobbi a little bit here. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We're so excited. We're out of practice. This is our first time back in studio it's actually only our second time back in studio since some point when snow was flying. We did a bunch of canned episodes when baby delivery was imminent. We had one back in studio and then we've been on Zoom. So we are rusty as rusty gets around here.
That's right.
Good. That makes me look good.
Yes. But we're back and we're happy to be here. So tell us a little bit about you, Bobbi. You're from Henry County originally?
Well, all but 2 years, yes.
That's forgivable.
So 55 years. So everybody that can add how old I am. Grew up in Strawn, graduated from Tri-High in 1981. Graduated from IU Kelly School of Business in 85.
Story checks out. You're on time.
Yes.
Graduated on time.
I did graduate
on time and on budget.
I did. I graduated on time. Even after changing my major 3 times, I still graduated on time because by the time I was a senior, I was like, I'm out of here.
I'm getting done.
Yeah, I'm getting done. Came back here, started working in different areas. And while my degree is in business, IT was the path that I got on by accident. and have rode that ride for 32 years. Started my business 18 years ago. I provide network services to dentists.
That is a very unique targeted path.
It is a very unique targeted path. A friend of mine was doing it, and I started helping him, and that was in 2002. Is that right? 18? Yep. 2002.
Found the niche, and
found the niche, and I've been doing it ever since.
Well, very good.
So if you're elected to be a commissioner, you're going to be able to help with live streaming at
absolutely,
the courthouse.
Absolutely, better than holding a phone up for like this for 2 hours.
Hey, we would be happy if you just set your phone on the table while you're up there at the desk.
Well, I know. I know.
Just so that we can hear everybody.
Yeah. Well, they're working on.
I tell you what,
after the elevator.
If you're elected, I will help you run microphones.
Okay.
Because I can do that.
Okay.
I know that. And then you can cover the networking.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, deal.
Absolutely.
So what ticked your mind to say, I'm going to get involved in politics? This is you've been around at attending commissioners meetings and
about 4
on the
years
scene
now.
for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and it's no secret that wind was what got me started. Because if you'd asked me 20 years ago, Bobbi, do you want to run for commissioner? I would have said, why? So I started attending the meetings. And as I attended more meetings, I realized that there was other issues besides the one that I was concerned about going on in the county. And I just kept attending Planning Commission, BZA, PART, EDC.
You start to get plugged in. It's a relatively small circle of folks that are tackling the same issues, right?
Right. And I was approached, over a year ago. I can't tell you the exact time. Maybe August. Not this past August, but the year before.
So maybe all the way back to 18. So almost a 2 year run up.
Yeah, if I would consider. But there was a lot of things to think about at that time. My dad was still at home with his dementia and Alzheimer's, and I was a primary caregiver, and I don't know that I can balance all of that. And unfortunately, we couldn't care for him anymore at home, so we had to place him in a nursing home, and then I still just took a lot of time because you have to clear your brain after you've gone through all of that. And I decided January or February of 19 that, I think I want to do this. I think I could be good at it. I have a pretty solid background with business and figuring out problems and troubleshooting and problem solving. And so I announced a year ago in March, I think it was March 18th, I announced that I was going to run for commissioner.
So to paint the picture for those that are listening, we have folks that are in Henry County listening. We have people all over the country that listen to this show as well. So the county commissioner, for those that don't know Indiana politics well,
right.
It's a board of 3 folks that are the county executive.
Yes.
And it's regional. So you are running for the Southern District seat.
Correct. Running for the Southern District seat.
There's also a Middle District seat that's up this year, and the Northern District seat is in another 2-year cycle.
Correct.
So it's a 4-year term, and the Southern and Middle Districts are up now.
Correct.
You're running as a Republican.
Yes.
And there is one other Republican in your race.
Yes.
It's an open seat this year.
It is an open seat.
So then the other fellow that's running is Jeff Lane, I believe.
Yes.
And we intend to have Jeff on next week. So we're providing opportunities for all of the candidates to come through the doors here. So you're running in that, but it's not just, hey, the southern part of Henry County is going to vote. You've got to appeal to the people in
north, south, east, and west.
Yeah, every bit of the 50,000 people in the county.
Bluntsville.
You can't get there from here.
Not from here. You can from Strawn, but you can't from here. Strawn, you just go straight up over Right Road till you can't go anymore.
Yep.
But yeah, you have to appeal to everybody in the county, which makes it even more difficult.
It's very, very
just
unique.
to campaign and get out, and especially not being known as a politician or a sitting commissioner or council person.
The name ID is a struggle.
Exactly.
And we were having that conversation on the Patreon side a moment ago of you're a first time candidate. Jeff's a first time candidate running in the race. There's not an incumbent. The Ed Yanos is not running for re-election. So it's an open seat. Right. And there is a Democrat in the race.
Yes.
But it'll be the fall before he sees whomever's going to be on the ballot.
Right. So
it's been a unique campaign trying to create name ID, get out in front of people. Hey, we changed when the election's going to be.
Exactly.
You picked a good year to try this.
I know. I thought, oh my gosh, I picked a year that, what were you going to do? I mean, no handshaking, no door-to-door knocking,
no parades,
no chicken noodle dinner, pancake, chili supper all in the same day, no parades, no any of that. But it's been interesting. We still work as hard as we can to get did mailer. I think that went out a week or two ago. I can't remember when.
I have watching the race as not having a candidate in these county races at this point. I've been getting
mailers. In the fall?
I sure hope not. Gosh, I hope not.
Chris, Dakota.
So
not I.
Looking.
I plead the fifth.
But my mailbox has been busy. I've received something from every candidate for commissioner on the Republican ballot. Actually, my wife has received them. She's got the. She's on the mailing list.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or
my wife is too. Well, I don't know how Audrey gets involved with these Republican mailing lists. So, we get them.
It's fun. Well, Sarah's been here for 1 year and she's getting the mail.
Oh, really?
It's hilarious. Yeah.
I think so. You have 33L2 as your license plate.
Yes.
That might be
and 3.
You have 3.
I have 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't know. Because I thought maybe now that my license plate's changed, I don't have 3301. They'll start sending sending them to me.
That'll be the difference. I don't know. We'll see if the new chairperson, whomever that might be, decides they want to get that plate.
Yeah, that's why I decided to free it up.
Yeah,
you're not going to be the chairperson anymore.
Not anymore.
Outgoing chairperson, father of the year over here.
I'm leaving.
Well.
Maybe as long as
if we're ever allowed to have a convention.
Well, I will tell you, and we talked about this earlier. The one thing I miss the most is shaking hands.
Yeah,
I mean, in business, what's the first thing that you do when you meet somebody new, or even you come across a business associate? You stick your hand out and you shake their hand and say, "It's nice to meet you." And I really do miss shaking somebody's hand.
It is so strange to go, to have that interaction and just, I don't know what to do with my hands anymore.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Hey.
I'd hug somebody, I'd shake their hand, I'd be cordial in some way, and now it's, hey, how you doing over there? Let's be awkward and stare at each other's shoes.
I had a gentleman come out to my house, and I'm getting some painting done on my house, and he came out, he did, looked at everything, and as he was leaving, we kind of both went to shake each other's hand. And then he was like, "Oh," and then he stuck his elbow out. And I was like,
it's awkward.
I was like, "Man, this sucks."
Yeah.
That was a couple weeks ago, so it was still like things are changing weekly. And so a couple weeks ago, it was still looking pretty grim.
Now, at this point, I think the best I can tell is that on Thursdays, the governor says you can have groups of 25 or less as long as you only touch left hands. I think is the way
just left hands.
It works. But don't try to go get a fountain soda because that's not legal.
What community is it? Is the left hand? There's some other country where it's offensive to be touched with your left hand.
The Arabic
that's
countries.
Canada. Yeah,
the Arabic
Canada
countries.
for sure.
You don't shake with left hand because that's what they wipe with. Yeah.
No, it's the Canadians.
I wasn't going to go that far. I was just going to say it's offensive to have
it's informative.
It's the French Canadians. The left-handed French Canadians.
Canada's closed. Moose should have told you out front.
So back to the commissioner's race.
Yes.
There's a hot topic in our county, and that's about land use. We already talked about what made you start looking into politics was the wind issue, the role of the planning commission and all this. That was a big topic during the last candidate series that we went through with the county offices. Jeremiah's put this question on our show notes. If you're a Patreon member, you get access to these beforehand. But it's do you like the scorecard program? What are your thoughts?
So the planning commission, when the CAFO issue was going
Right.
through 5, 6, 7 years
Right.
ago, they put together a scorecard, and it kind of, the goal of that, as I understand it, was to eliminate some of the bickering or the issues that came into place with those, and try to keep us out of county lawsuits, right? Because there's not a finite number of dollars to go around,
Right.
So I wanted your, on a larger scale, the
honestly,
land use,
I
but
don't know.
scorecards.
I didn't know about the scorecard.
Okay. Yeah. So basically what happens is the planning commission now, they don't have to review every application that comes
Right.
through. It's if you're this many acres away, if you've got this head count,
Right.
if you've got this buffer,
Then you can, if you meet all these requirements, then you're approved.
You don't have to, we don't have to make it political.
Right.
There are metrics.
Right.
So that's the question.
I see where that could be beneficial. I'm not sure how it would work with,
Right.
wind.
Right. But it could be a barn. It could be a house.
Right.
It could be a commercial operation.
You check. Sure.
Right. Essentially, what you're doing is you're taking away
Right.
what's arbitrary.
Right. The arbitrary
And
stuff.
you're and it's non-political.
Exactly.
And these are the rules that we agree to.
Right.
Somebody in, a Corey Murphy role, or if you're in Rush County, a John McCain role,
Right.
can sell your area and market it and say, hey, if we tick these boxes, you're good to go.
Right. Right. I don't know how that would work with wind.
Right.
I mean, I would have to see. But yeah, I'm not opposed to that type of
Yeah, I guess the question wasn't specifically about wind. It was just that all together.
Yeah.
Like
it would take some of the
it would take it, so it would take it from being personal issues. Like I have an issue with person A, and I am on the planning commission, and person A is applying to build something.
Right.
You
I
can't
don't
just
like
go,
you. I'm not going to. Yeah, exactly.
You parked in my grass 15 years ago. And
Right.
and I'm not supposed to like
You want to put a fence up, and your neighbor is my uncle, and my uncle says that you don't mow your yard to the correct height.
And you weren't
Therefore-
good to my cousin in high
Right.
school.
But you can also see on the flip side of that where it's like we're the planning commission, and we need to look at things on an individual basis. And sometimes things can be more nuanced than what can be placed down
Exactly.
on this set of parameters.
Right, on this card.
Yeah, Eldon Pitts is in the chat, and he's commenting, saying the scoring system takes the emotion completely
Exactly.
out
It
of the
does
process.
take the emotion out.
So
Exactly.
it's you go point A, B, C, and you're good to go. You could also use it for chickens. Dakota and I have talked about chickens on this show for 3 years now.
Oh, that is a huge
and we
conversation.
Could say, you know what? You have to have a certain number of acres to be able to have any livestock in this community. So you could say, hey, you know what? If you want to raise a
I believe for
household,
chickens is 5 acres. Of
if you want to
grazing land?
you have to have 5 acres to have a chicken. In this time where you're struggling to go through grocery stores, maybe it's an opportunity to
Come
say,
and
hey,
take it.
Maybe it's an opportunity to say, you know what, for personal use, maybe 4 hens or less to anybody, and
Right, for personal use, not for
not for resale, but household use, or your house and your family, whatever. It's another way to apply that same logic.
Exactly. In Strawn, there's no hoofed animals allowed in the town limits. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's fine because you got to have 5 acres.
Okay,
Unless you have 5 acres in town,
Right.
that guy Darren Jacobs is going to come shoot your hoofed animal anyway, right?
He is. He would come.
Yeah.
See,
He would come and take my pig and my chickens, but it seems like chickens are. I don't have a problem.
I think that the
I don't have
broader-
a problem with hoofed animals. I live in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up next to really. I want to say the first CAFO in Henry County. Sam Goldman, just outside of Strawn, had. You remember?
Yeah,
I don't. You're not old enough to remember.
I know. That.
Dakota was born in 1996.
You're not old enough to remember, but
I live with an older person, and I hear a lot of these stories.
yeah,
That's why that name and the operation rings a bell.
Yeah, he had, I think it was dairy cattle that was in a barn, never saw the light of day. He knifed in, well, I don't know that he really knifed in the byproduct, but you smelled it a
Incorporated
lot.
into a field.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It was there, you smelled it, and you were in the country, and you
And it's part of living in the county.
Yeah.
Too. Occasionally, you're going to get some smells and some noises,
Yeah.
some things that you don't really appreciate. But
So broadly speaking, if you're the county one of 3 county executives, you're not the only county executive.
Oh, wouldn't it be great if I was queen of the world? If everybody just did what I wanted them to do.
You ran for the wrong office. That's governor
or mayor,
and you'll have a shot at it in 4 years.
Move to Newcastle. You can be the mayor.
You don't have to move to
If everybody
Newcastle.
just do what I wanted them to do, the world would be a better place.
It's a democratically elected monarchy.
So, but looking at it, are there other, do you have a list of, hey, these are the ordinances that I want to look at or the issues that you want to tackle because you have that control or that local authority.
Exactly.
To say, hey, you know what? I want to dig into land use in this way, or I want to talk about, the way we've, the health department has obviously been huge, and health ordinances are under the commissioner's purview.
Right.
Are there items that you have an agenda to try to look at, or is it a case by case as we come to it?
It's a case by case as we come to it. I'm not naive enough to think that I know everything that's goes on in county government. I know that there's going to be a learning curve, and I can't walk in and go, this is what I want to do.
And that is a problem with a lot of people running for office who have these expectations that they're going to get into office and that they're going to be able to make all these changes.
Right. There's going to be a learning curve of staying in your lane.
If you are elected, are we getting rid of Darren and he can't be the one to kill the hogs anymore, or do we have to continue to live in this empire?
If you get rid of Darren, he's going to focus all of his time and energy in spicing. We don't deserve that.
Oh, that's right. You live down there.
Oh, God. You know who's never going to be a Patreon member? Darren Jacobs. Never happening.
He's texted.
He's the most abused guest in the history of the show.
He has texted both of us before it and said that he judges the quality of each episode based on how many times he's brought up.
Good or bad?
This is going to be a good one.
This is going to be a good one.
This is like Earnhardt. As long as they're making noise.
Yeah.
Just say, maybe he might show in
If
the
you
door.
say
If
it
you say it 3 times.
Yeah, be careful.
Beetlejuice,
Be damn careful.
He might walk
He's
in.
already walking this way, and you'll be here within 20 to 30 minutes.
In 10 minutes, he's a walker.
That might be the other thing.
I did pass him one day. He was walking around the courthouse.
You may need a haircut ordinance.
Well, yeah.
To make sure that county employees are above the ear or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I
wonder how many people have gotten their haircuts this week.
Not Darren, damn hippie. He's got those long flowing locks he's still got going.
Oh my God.
We need to have him back on and feed us some hot peppers again. Ghost peppers this time.
Ghost peppers.
You fed him ghost
No,
peppers?
well, we all ate them.
Oh, okay.
I strongly encourage you to look up that episode.
Okay,
There was
I'll
a gallon
have
of
to.
milk
Oh my
drank,
gosh.
and it was horrific.
Oh my
I
gosh.
ate 2. I think I got.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. I'm a real man, Bobby.
Darren,
How many did Darren eat?
Same number.
2? Wow.
Yeah.
Darren's a pepper, like a
Yeah, he
hot
drinks
is he?
them. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he grows them and he has a problem.
Yeah.
They cause hiccups. Incredible hiccups.
which makes for great
None of
radio.
this is why. Yeah, if you watch that show after
I have to look it up.
after Dakota ate the pepper, gone. Completely
It
useless as a
took me
co-host.
into a weird meditative state.
He disappeared. He was
The only thing I was hearing was like
was the wheezing of your wife in the corner who also ate a
she had a
poblano pepper.
habanero.
Yeah, it was a
She didn't
nothing
even
pepper.
need a ghost pepper. Anyway, let's get back to the.
Yeah, sorry.
We're so out of practice. I apologize, Bobby.
No, this is fully what I expected.
No, you're fine.
I told you it's
So-
conversational in nature.
Exactly.
We're going to get
Exactly.
there. But we're going to
The-
have fun while we do it.
Well, we were just talking about ordinances with all of this, and the ordinance that was regarding COVID-19, and that was kind of controversial in our circle because of the May 23rd date, and we were so far out at that time.
It was
We
2
were-
months.
We were 2 months out, and when that was like 6 weeks away from what the governor had put in place at the time, because he was working in 2-week increments. What were your thoughts on that as you watched it all go down? Because you were there, weren't you? Or no, you weren't there in person.
I wasn't there in person.
Yeah.
They
They had
You
it.
were plugged in.
yes.
Yeah, you were watching.
I thought my personal opinion was 60 days was a little too long. Now, of course, I'm not a medical professional and I don't know all the data that they had, but
The reporting we were getting
from a business perspective,
it's devastating, right?
Yes, from a business perspective, it's devastating because like 60 days of minimal or no work. I mean, even at the state level, 30 days or 2 weeks or whatever, that you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do that. You sit and think we've got to have a balance somewhere between there has to be a balance between public safety and not destroying everybody's livelihood.
Finding voluntary association,
yes,
right?
Finding that balance has been difficult. I get and understand the need to protect lives, absolutely, positively, because my question every time I call the nursing home is, how many positive cases do you have? 0. Okay, cool. I understand that and I get that. I just don't know if it could have been done differently.
We talked about this last
on
week.
a 2 week or 3 week.
Right.
Let's flatten the curve for 2 weeks, see where we are. Can we do another week or two? Do we have to do another week or two? Are we seeing spikes? That type of thing.
Yeah. So Cannon Gray is in the chat and he says Dr. Miller recommended 3 months.
Did he really?
At the 323 meeting, the commissioner said, "Hey, let's go to 2 months," which was very different than what the state had done at that point. And then the commissioners, once the state announced their reopening plan, then they rescinded the previous ordinance. But what it did is that it created panic for, I picked up the torch and grew my beard and had the long hippie hair myself on behalf of the barbers, trying to draw attention to how
and it's one of those things you're darned if you do and darned if you don't.
Yeah.
If you do 60 days and things don't happen the way you suspect, then everybody's like, well, why did we do this? And if you don't do it, and then there's a overabundance of cases and deaths, and why didn't you do? So you have to make the best decision that you think you're making with the least impact based upon the information that you have. I mean, that's
You're
and I know that's
threading the needle,
I know
right?
I know that sounds like a political answer.
Well, you're getting good at this.
And well, thank you. But I mean, it's not a black and white, cut and dry, and
it's like what we talked about last week, where it's like everything. It's like every other issue where you have extremes on either side.
Yes,
and of course, a health professional is going to sit there and tell you that things are horrible. We are in dire need to shut everything down because that's their world.
They're advocating.
That's what they live in, and it's what they see every day, and it's what they're reading every day. But you have to balance it. You have to find the compromise. It's a nuanced situation. Like you said, it's not black and white.
Right.
So it's, and you have to also look around. What is the state doing? What is Governor Holcomb, who is sitting in the state house, and he undoubtedly, as the governor of one of 50 states in the U.S., knows more than what the county commissioners know at that point. What is he doing? And what is our small county of 50,000 people going to do to reflect that we care about our citizens? Do we go 2 weeks like the state, or do we shut it down for 3 months like the county health director is saying? 2 months? I don't think that you took enough. I don't think you met in the middle enough. But that's just my personal opinion, and I'm not the one running for commissioner.
Well, not right now.
Not right now.
Yeah.
In the fall.
No, not then
Check
either.
local listings. Next thing I knew, I woke up and I was on the ballot. I don't know how it happened. Too much Jose Cuervo.
I tell you who I didn't want to be, and that's Angela Cox.
Yeah.
She's done.
She's the health administrator.
Yes,
for
the health
county.
administrator. She has done an outstanding job. I mean,
I don't envy any of these people.
Oh no, I don't. I mean, the phone calls and the not to bring up the golf course and whether there's Mount Lawn or the Saddle Club or having to field all of
You
Newcastle
become an
Motorsports
enforcement agency as well,
right? And
you go from a group that does some spot checks on restaurants and doing shots to now you're the enforcement.
She's done an
arm.
outstanding job. I can't imagine the stress levels that she was under having to field all of that, and all the people that work there, not just her.
as a candidate, it certainly has to make you think. Like this is something that was unprecedented.
Yes.
Hopefully
it never happens again.
We were living
At least not for another few years.
At least for another 4 years.
Till Bobby's out of office.
But we were living in this dreamland where we hadn't experienced a pandemic really on this global level infecting this
in
many
our
people.
lifetimes.
Yeah, since 1918.
Right.
So you have to start thinking about this as a candidate of what you're looking for in fielding candidates for these executive positions that you will be approving.
Right.
Because that's also part of your job.
Oh, absolutely. Part of the job is approving those people in executive positions.
Do you have, do you have any thoughts about what you're looking for?
Are you asking me if I would fire anybody?
No.
Dakota's looking for a job.
No, I wouldn't fire anybody.
I'm not looking for a job.
Not even Darren? Damn it. We accomplished nothing, Guffey.
You can't. Absolutely. She's not listening.
I'm not asking if you would fire anybody, but I'm just saying has your view on this, has your view on hiring people for these roles changed? To where I don't know if you thought about it much before, and also what kind of qualities are you looking for in people going into those
specifically
roles?
Public health or
Just anything.
Any board?
Yeah. Because I think the public health is just a good example of things can go horribly wrong, and all of a sudden someone can get a lot of extra responsibilities shoved onto them at a moment's notice.
Exactly.
In anything.
Something can go horribly wrong at the park board.
Exactly.
Or at the park. And, July 4th.
We'll get to that later.
Fireworks, whether or not they have them or... Oh, yes, I know that's not... honestly, I think the people that are serving right now are not doing a bad job. I don't have a complaint with any of them. I don't know everybody that's serving on the boards, but I don't look at somebody on the drainage board and you've got to go. Yeah. I think right now, from what I've seen and what I've heard, they're all qualified people, and they have the best interest at heart. Same like park board, whether it's park board or board of health, or
as time goes on, you start to develop your relationship with those folks, and then you make your decisions about continuing to appoint or not.
Exactly.
Appoint, right?
Once you see them doing their job in a different capacity. Right now, I'm just a citizen seeing that the drainage board does this or the park board does this.
It's the thing that Councilman Malakote tells me all the time is it's a whole lot different looking back out into the chairs.
He has said that to me too. It's a whole lot different when you're on the other side of the table. It's easy to sit back. Again, if everybody did everything that I wanted them to do, the world would be a better place.
Yeah, it's something I've always thought about, like with the Obama presidency, because he talked so much about things that were going to happen. His whole campaign was hope, change you can believe in. And he's talking about healthcare. He's talking about pulling troops from overseas. And then he gets elected. And it was like a week later, on his campaign website, he pulled pulling troops from overseas. That was gone. So it was like
just quietly.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Quietly.
It's like he got into office, and then he started looking at things, and you're flooded. I would imagine in any executive position, if you're elected in November,
with information that you don't know even exists.
Exactly.
Which
is why I totally respect your answer earlier of there's not specific things that you want to address immediately.
Right. There's things that, I'm not naive enough to think that I can just walk in, running my business. I can walk in and do whatever I want to do. Yeah. I've run my business for 18 years. I know what it takes. There is going to be a learning curve, and there'll be a learning curve no matter whoever's in the seat.
We're going to have a new commissioner in the Southern District,
right.
So it's going to be different no matter what happens.
Right, no matter what happens. And potentially there could be two new in the seat.
Yep, we could have. Yep.
And that's when you lean on people that have been there a long time, not just the other commissioner, but the auditor or the treasurer or the clerk, or there's a whole host of people.
So let's talk about somebody that's
speaking of roles
that's currently serving, and this has been a year of unique. I cannot for the life of me remember a group of elected officials calling for another elected official to resign. But it happened.
It did.
Our county coroner, who's not running for reelection, accepted it's been reported in the Middletown paper, the Newcastle paper. It's been discussed at some public meetings. The current coroner accepted a position in another county during the week. It's a 90-day short-term assignment, but was not going to be here during the week. So the deputy coroners are covering responsibilities Monday through Friday. The council said, we're having a pandemic. This isn't going to work. We'd like you to resign. You're going to cost us more money because things are going to happen. You're going to be away. You can't do the job. The coroner said, no, I think I'm getting the job done just fine. The council unanimously said, hey, we don't think so. We'd like you to resign. And there was a letter sent by President Hoon to the local media outlets expressing the reasoning why. You're running for one of these official seats.
Yes.
How does he? Do you have an opinion? When you look at this, do you have?
Well,
it's very unique.
It is very unique, and I haven't seen the letter that was sent out to the media, and I don't know the backstory of what job or not doing or anything like that. I was a little surprised that it was brought up in a public meeting.
Right. Well, it's 7-0 too, right? Like it's just. It's unprecedented to see that happen.
I was a little surprised that happened. That it was hey, it went from let's buying a car to fix a car or whatever, buy a car, whatever.
Yeah,
I was a little shocked at that. Maybe discussion should have taken place behind the scenes first.
And it's kind of weird too, right?
Yeah.
Given that the council is the financial body for the county.
Yeah.
They're not.
Well, they pay the budget, right? So the council's position is hey,
you're getting your salary plus we're having to pay somebody.
We're looking at $1 million shortfall potentially because people are delaying property taxes.
I understand the concern of the finances. I absolutely do. And I understand the concern of the coroner leaving 5 days a week during a pandemic. I understand, that where that concern came from. I don't fault them for having those concerns. I just think that maybe it should have been done first privately, that discussion privately first.
So theoretically, if you were in the commissioner's chair, would you want to take any action,
of another elected official?
Well, no. Would you want to take any action? So say you're sitting in the chair, same deal. Would you want to have the commissioners also go on record and say, hey, yeah, we agree, we stand with the council on this, or it would be, hey, we don't want to take action at this point and see what happens. And I guess that would you view any role or interaction there?
I wouldn't think that there would be. My personal opinion, I don't think that there would be a role for that.
I agree.
I just don't.
I think it's silly.
I understand the reasoning for the motion that Clay made and the discussions that they had. I understand why.
Right.
I do. But as a legal basis, do you have a right as a council to?
They don't have the ability to remove,
to resign.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. And again, I don't know any of the background information of what they have, or if anything's, I don't know any of that background information. Just what you guys all saw at the public meeting as well. So without having some more information.
The legalities of it, to my understanding, are if you still live in the county and if you're not convicted of a crime,
correct,
you're an elected official until you're no longer an elected official.
Correct. That's correct.
That's the legal basis of it. At that point, it becomes, hey, do you want to use the soapbox to say, hey, you need to do this because it's the right thing, or no, you guys are out to lunch and I'm fine.
Right.
That's the discussion.
And I do understand. I do understand both sides. I understand why they did what they did, or why the motion was made, based upon what they said in the public meeting. I get it. I do. But yeah, he's an elected official,
That's
kind of
that's for
difficult
the voters
to remove. Right.
decide on election day.
In June, and unless somebody runs against Mr. Guffey in the fall.
Right.
You going to run for coroner, Dakota? Sorry. I'm going to try to get you to run.
Not this year.
He's just trying to pay for diapers.
Yeah, I get it.
Just trying to get through the diaper life. So let's talk about something that's close to my heart, Memorial Park. I've been a park board member in the past.
Yes.
And the park has, in the last 5 or 6 years, gotten more attention than it probably did in the last 30. Good, bad, indifferent. Been in the news a lot. A lot of things have happened in the park. So I'm going to leave it open-ended. There's the expo centers come in.
Right.
We've seen new monuments. We've seen refurbishment of monuments. We've seen relocation of monuments. We've seen a veterans museum come in. I guess as a county commissioner, you'll be responsible for the appointments of the park board. And then as a park board member in the past, I know very well that if the commissioners don't like something the park board did, ultimately the park board makes the decision as to who the superintendent is.
Exactly.
That's it. Everything else eventually comes back across the commissioner's desk. So I want to hear broad, what do you think of Memorial Park in the next 4 years, 8 years? And then if you want to talk about any specific issues, run with it.
Well, and there's been a lot of issues. Sometimes I think it's personality issues with people on the board or other people on monuments committees, or I'm sure that there are issues that people agree with and there's issues that people don't agree with, whether that's the Doughboy or putting this monument in, or whether it's the Veterans Museum and how are we going to do the power. Overall,
power meaning the electric.
The electric, sorry.
It's the same building.
The electric in the same building, how that's going to be paid for. And, I would like to see, I think Mr. Gray mentioned in one of the council meetings that they get along better. I would like to see.
You're going to put him in their get along shirt?
Everybody's an adult.
Timeout.
Everybody's are adults, and they can do what they want to do. But there does seem some contention between the various groups.
We have a park.
We have a park,
and then we have so many stakeholders involved in that park. The picture of Memorial Park is very intricate.
It is,
because you have leaseholders in the Expo Center that's under construction. Right. You have leaseholders in the Saddle Club. Yes. You now have leaseholders in the Veterans Museum. You have the county the county park board that operates everything else that's not under lease to a different group.
Correct.
And then you have the Hope Initiative helping out as
Friends of Memorial Park.
And you also have Friends of Memorial Park, which is a 501c3 that benefits the park because it's a taxpayer funded group and can't mechanically do certain things.
Exactly.
So now you've got, 6 different boards involved with all of those personalities.
All of the personalities.
And then they flow back up to the county commissioners, which is another board.
Exactly.
And then ultimately what happens is that you churn through a park board member about every 2 years.
A new one comes along. I think the new park superintendent's doing a great job. I was at her interview, the public interview.
Back on that microphone for me.
Oh, sorry. I think she's doing a great job. I was at her interview and she was the one that would impress me the most. I would like to see somehow for everybody to get along better. All the groups, and not all of the groups are contentious with each other. It just seems to be, if you read social media, I was advised after I announced my candidacy, I was advised to don't read the comments.
There are some Facebook groups in our community that I think at this point have become just a cesspool of thought, and I am not in them anymore. And
everybody is allowed their own opinion, their own view. I'm not in it daily. I don't know the ins and outs and the whys and the wherefores and why this happened or that happened. I just would hope that everybody would get along better.
So 10,000 foot view.
Yes.
Are you happy with the direction of the park and
Yes.
and what's happening and
Yes.
the projects that are ongoing, the expo and everything else going forward?
I hope that the expo is successful. I mean, it's disconcerting when you just see dirt. You see. I haven't heard an update of where they are in their fundraising.
Where the best playground in the county was.
Yeah.
Be nice.
I haven't heard an update. Me personally, heard an update of where they are with their raising monies to complete the project or phase 1. But I hope that it moves forward.
All right.
I hope it's successful. I would hate for a building be built and it not be successful. I don't want to wish unsuccess on any project that's going on, especially something that large that has moved Dakota's favorite playground. And we'll put a plaque up there for you. If I'm commissioner, we'll put a plaque that says formerly home of Dakota's favorite.
Former home of.
The promises are already out there. That's just selling her soul over here for the job. Now Dakota's got to get an $82 plaque and somebody's got to mow around it.
Notice my ankles are crossed.
I told her I would set up the microphone, so maybe that's quid pro quo. We've heard enough about that in the past year, haven't we?
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that's funny. So,
do you want 2 doughboys? Is that the ultimate plan? Is
2 doughboys?
What we talked about on the show 2 years ago. That was the only way to fix it was to make a second doughboy.
Yeah, because I don't think you can move the one that is been moved already.
Right.
Listen, no statue will survive 2 moves.
No, it won't.
They're like a cat.
Yeah. Exactly.
2 homes,
exactly.
they're topped out.
Exactly.
They can't adapt to a third.
Well, Bobby, if you remember at the park board meeting one time, we were going to have you and I as a statue.
Yes, we were.
They were going to make us a statue.
They were.
How good we are.
You're going to be bronzed? Like Han Solo over here? Han Solo. That's a very equate version of a bronze statue.
The Libertarian and the Republican.
Exactly.
Getting along, being friends.
Look at that.
It's weird.
Yeah, they were. I remember that park board meeting.
Oh, shoot. What else we got, Dakota?
We have to talk about the Henry County Jail for just a second.
Oh, yes.
The jail's been in decay for decades.
Yep.
This was a huge issue in the 2018 county races, especially the council, because there was talk about the lit tax that which did pass.
Right.
So
that's why your paychecks are smaller, everybody.
Yep. So I have to work more overtime now to provide for my family because of what the council passed. But, that's another thing.
That's fine. We're all poor.
And they take money from that.
You're not
too.
getting a pay. Oh, wait, you still got a paycheck.
Yeah. I'm one of those lucky essential.
Yeah, essential workers.
We're all essential.
So every job is essential for the person that depends on the paycheck.
Absolutely.
But back to the jail. Given the new money that's set aside, and there's been a lot of talk about places that the jail is going, partnerships potentially on all these things. What do you think is, just looking at it, and you've been super involved, what do you think is the best course of action to take?
Well, I'm glad that they're finally moving forward because it should have been done
decades ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple.
Right. And I'm glad that Representative Saunders was able to work to get the land that it's going through. Unfortunately, with the shutdown, I haven't been able to keep up on what they have decided. I did see that the settlement was a potential settlement last night with the ACLU was, so that takes a huge pressure off. I'll be excited when they get it done. I know that they've got the architect and the general manager, or general contractor. I'm not a construction person, so if I don't get the words right, ready to move forward.
They have their construction team.
They do have their construction
and they have
team.
their site.
Yep, and they have their site. Now it's got a concern is funding, obviously, because we're, even though they passed the tax, we're not going to obviously generate as much as expected for that. Worried about construction costs going up.
And you've got bonding, future bonding
issues.
or other, it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen.
What's going to happen.
It's cheap to borrow money right now, though.
It is cheap to borrow money right now. It is very cheap to borrow money right now.
Has the council thought about investing in oil?
They do every year. The county commissioners they have a bid, and they
yes,
get their
they
oil
do.
for the year, right?
Yes,
so
they do.
They do. They buy.
Yep.
They lock in the winter
Yes.
for the new year.
Yeah.
So we're paying obscenely high prices right now. I'm quite sure.
It's true.
Compared to what would be out there right now.
Yeah.
I bought stocks in oil, TJ Maxx. I bought 3 shares of.
There you go.
Yeah. Crap. What was the other one?
Doggy coin.
And yeah, I bought Dogcoin. That was just a joke, though.
Hey, I saw you have 4,000.
I have 4,014 Dogcoins.
Which is $10.
$10 worth.
Is it really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's that for everyone who's wondering. That is the cryptocurrency that was set up by Elon Musk.
Oh, okay.
But it's never going to be like Bitcoin, just because it's different. And that we should have a whole episode on cryptocurrency. It's weird.
After we finish the candidate series,
Yep.
so I will let you lead the
Okay.
lead the
the
gospel
way.
here, buddy.
But anyway,
And I would say, Rick McCorkle and all of them have done an outstanding job trying to keep
so that
the
was
current jail inhabitable, safe.
that was my next question. Was if, in the future, going forward, there's going to be, because I don't know how much you've been involved in construction, but that's what I did, and there's always things that change. There's always things that, as time moves forward, things start getting built, and there's different things that all of a sudden, hey, we think that we need this. The contractor thinks that this would be the best way to go. Are you going to do outside research, or will your primary source of information, you just listen to what the sheriff needs?
I will listen to what the needs of the sheriffs are, but then you have to do your own outside research in anything that you do. You can't just take one side. I mean, you have to.
I mean, a lot of that will come. A lot of those requests will go to the council,
Right.
but you'll see them as well.
Right, exactly. I mean, you do have to do your own study. I mean, it's. I'm not for spoon feeding, getting spoon fed.
Often what will happen is that just like when you have you have a board and you have an attorney that works for you, you will have an expert of some sort that's the commissioner's representative to interface or deal with the contractor and the folks that are actually working at the project team.
Right.
So you would have.
I mean, you have to do your own research to be able to, especially in construction. My dentist, I've worked in new construction when they've built a new office, and I've had to go in. I look at a plan, and we're putting a computer there, but not massive. I'm not part of the construction team. I tell them where I want a pipe put.
Yeah.
But you do have to do your own research and figure things out a little bit more.
Well, now you're going to be on the other side going, can we afford to put that pipe there where they said they want it?
Exactly.
Yeah, Mike Broyles is in the chat, and he's bringing up a comment that we've seen a number of times in the past on this issue, asking if they couldn't keep up with the 40, 50-year-old building, how are they going to keep up with the new one? So the maintenance and the upkeep of keeping that building alive for, you don't like to replace these every 40 years, right?
No. And that's a good question, because the financial stability of the county is a major concern, not just for the jail upkeep, but for upkeep of the county. And especially with the pandemic and, taxes, property taxes may not be coming in as well, and we may have to borrow money, and, the payroll taxes are down, and all of those things.
Although it does sound like the treasurer has reported that money has come in better than expected. Some of the storm clouds that folks were concerned about
it's not
a month
as
or two
great.
ago that seems to have folks have actually paid their taxes.
Yeah, because our Trump bucks got here, and then all of a sudden we got hit with our property tax bill literally a week later.
You got to flip over the check and sign it and send it right on in.
And
but you still had 60 days. You could have postponed it.
Yeah, they're truly you
Well,
can
they were
go
actually
until
due on the
July.
11th, but the governor issued a.
Yeah, but on the top of your property tax bill, it still said that if you pay after May 11th, you will have a penalty fee.
Yeah,
I still maintain that's a state form, and they couldn't reprint it. They probably couldn't change that.
You're probably right.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that they couldn't print it. To answer the question of how are they going to maintain the upkeep, I don't have the answer to that. I wish I did. I mean, if I had a crystal ball, but pre-jail, pre-pandemic, the county was in financial straits.
Well,
that's not changed.
You've got a youth center that's got 7 years left on a lease, so that in very plausibly in your time as a commissioner, that may be another lease to consider as well, and you'll have to make a determination for what the future of that building is. Does it stay in the county inventory? Does it get sold?
And
Does it continue?
I don't know who looks over the contracts for those leases, but we did not enter into a good agreement.
Oh no.
And that was something that Councilman Malico has brought up time and time again. Like, hey, this was a horrible decision to go forward with this lease because now we have to foot the bill for all the maintenance costs on that building.
Yeah, that lease is very much the county has no choice. So
I guess
you can't get out of that lease.
Do you know who reads those before they get passed? Whose job is it? Does it fall on the commissioners? Does it fall on the council?
I don't sign them.
Yeah, the commissioners sign them.
Your attorney is generally involved in working with the legal language of a lease, because I was involved in the negotiation of a couple. I was involved in negotiations for both the Saddle Club when their lease was done previously, and with the Expo Center and their leases, and as the park board. I've had exposure to this and worked with the county a few times. And generally, the commissioners normally there's one lead commissioner working on the project. Ultimately, they all end up signing once it's approved, and then they're working hand in hand with the attorney.
Just writes up the legal language. I don't know that he gives advice as to what the dollar figure should be, or it's not leased at the right dollar figure in my mind.
All right. Bobbi.
When I heard what it was,
it's a deal.
Yeah.
There's two more questions I have.
Sure.
And one is on the show notes, one is not. In one statement.
So that means this is the penultimate question.
Sure. In one statement, I want you to give me your vision for Henry County of the future.
My vision for Henry County of the future? I want to see Henry County, because I grew up here. I came back here after I went to college. I think you've grown up here. I'm assuming you did too, Jeremiah.
I arrived as a young boy, and I've stayed here most of the time.
I want to see Henry County grow, bring in businesses that maybe are different than what we're used to. Instead of manufacturing, look at technology centers, or expanding to bring in other people to stay. I live in Henry County. But unfortunately, I've only worked my business is in Henry County, but I've worked elsewhere most of my career. Because of what I do, it was more advantageous for me to travel and come back. I came back and lived here because I love living in Henry County. It's a great place to live, retire, hopefully someday, retire. But I want it to be a place that thrives and people call home for life, that they don't leave. They don't graduate high school or college and say, I can't make it here. I want to go somewhere else. I want people to come back after college and say, this is my home for life.
Cleaning up one of our discussions we were having, John Madison, local attorney, speaking on behalf of all attorneys, is saying the attorney is not responsible for policy decisions. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's necessarily good policy.
Right. I just meant writing the legalese, not he turns all the
he takes the negotiation and
turns it into all the
He translates it.
Yeah, he translates it to all the legal words that need to be said, the these and the thous and the those and the
shalls and shall nots.
Shalls and shall nots. And
question number 2 is, why did you decide to run as a Republican?
Because I've been a conservative Republican for as long as I can remember.
All right.
What's that mean anymore? Do you know? Do we know
a conservative Republican?
Yeah.
There's so many different factions now.
Well, there are.
Because there's what a Republican was 10 years ago, and there's what a Republican is in the last 4 years.
I
don't know.
Fiscally conservative.
Republicans have stayed more on track with what their beliefs are more consistently than what the Democrat Party has. I think, personally. Except for maybe, 2016 was kind of weird. Because Donald Trump, lifelong Democrat, ran as a Republican, and everyone hated him in the primary. And then all of a sudden,
everybody loves him.
Yeah, it got weird. So that was kind of strange. But for the most part, maintained consistency.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I've registered as a. You don't
Voted in as a primary
voted as
voter.
primary
You
in the
can
Republican.
you can give money to the party. You can vote in the primary.
I'd also vote as a Republican in the primary.
Yeah, he can't be stopped.
So you can be a Republican in good standing.
Yeah,
I could.
There you go.
he checked the rule book. He found the loophole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always pulled a Republican ballot. Conservative, fiscal conservative, middle of the road type of person. That's just been my thing. You do you, and this is going to sound like libertarian too, but you do you and I do me.
There you go. All right. So if I think we're about at the point in the show where we start wrapping up again and final thoughts. We'll check with producer Chris real quick and see if you got anything to pitch, anything you need to get off your chest, anything we've forgotten.
Let me see. May 15th, the applications for the Newcastle Main Street grant program is going to be available. So if you are a local business and you have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, you will find the application on our Facebook page. Well, the Main Street's Facebook page. Look that up and you can apply. I believe it's a maximum of $2,000 grant one time. So if you've had problems and you can use a little extra cash to help you float by, apply and hopefully you can get it and keep you in business here in Henry County.
Did you say grant?
It is a grant. It is not, you do not have to pay it back.
All right.
All right. So, Bobby, if people want to volunteer for the campaign, help out. You're not. Are you expecting to get back to door, or is it? Do you know what to expect?
Well, the policy, because I did check at the state, what's the overall policy, and they are asking not to go door to door. You can drop literature off at the door, but don't knock. But
be careful with mailboxes.
Obviously no mailboxes. So probably not door to door. So if anybody, Bobbi Plummer for Henry County Commissioner on Facebook. Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Sorry.
It'll go better if you talk into the mic.
Sorry.
They'll find you better.
Again, I'm behind the camera.
I know.
I'm not in front of the camera.
Isn't it?
Yes, it is. Bobbi Plummer for Henry County Commissioner on Facebook. And if anybody wants to donate it, send it to Dickerson Accounting, 301 South 17th Street, Newcastle, 47362.
Very good.
I appreciate your support.
Is there anything else we've left out that we meant to cover or needed to cover? Or
I don't. My brain is, this.
Why are you the best candidate?
Why am I the best candidate?
Yeah.
I'm hardworking. I will dive into whatever needs to be done. I will do the hard lifting, and I'm not afraid.
Very good. D squared.
I have a final thought really quick, and here I go defending Republicans again. But I want to talk real quick about this. I should disclaimer first. These statements are my statements only and do not necessarily reflect the statements of the other people appearing on this podcast. Jim Lucas, our friend,
Yes.
has been involved in some controversy.
Boss Hog alum, Jim Lucas.
Yes, he has been involved in some. And those who don't know, Jim Lucas is the state representative for District Number 69 in Indiana.
Seymour, North Vernon.
Yep, Seymour, North Vernon area. And he's been on the show one time. We interviewed him before, and he is what I consider a true conservative Republican. Mm-hmm. He to me embodies everything that Republicans are supposed to stand for. A lot of times they don't stand for those principles. He's been involved in this controversy where he posted a meme. It's a meme that we've all seen 1,000 times where it shows a little boy in Africa and he's dancing. And
as Jim said, a happy, cocky little boy.
Yes. And we've all seen it a bunch because it's like a 2012 picture, right?
It's very pixelated.
It's like from the beginnings of the internet. Whenever it's ancient.
Dakota, the internet's older than you are, buddy.
Listen. I remember helping my parents install
high speed
I remember helping my parents install internet and having to listen to that dial-up tone.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
you get your AOL CD.
Mm-hmm. I remember the first day that we got Wi-Fi, and it was the craziest thing. Anyway, so
Story time with a 24-year-old.
yeah, back to
Get up on my knee. Let me tell you about dial-up.
back to Jim. He posted that meme, and it says, "We're gonna get free money," talking about the stimulus checks, and it has completely blown up. I saw it whenever he first posted it. I knew it was going to blow up because he, like Jeremiah said before in a private conversation, Jim Lucas is the ultimate boogeyman for the state Democratic Party, and he is their greatest fundraising tool because he is not afraid to speak his mind, and he's been involved in a lot.
He's
of these
made the radar, and
controversies.
he's become radioactive.
Okay.
So the Black Legislative Caucus for the state of Indiana has called for his resignation. Multiple Democrat state legislators across the state of Indiana have called for an investigation from the Ethics Committee because of this meme.
Memes will end you, son.
Yeah. Just as Aaron Ewert. Janine Lee Lake,
Also a Boss Hog alum.
also been interviewed on the show, will probably get interviewed again this year. She went on her Facebook page, said that she was disgusted by Jim Lucas and Jim Lucas's supporters because of this meme. And I want to clear the air, and knowing who Jim Lucas is and what he stands for, this you have to take into account what intent means, because the intent behind the meme was he saw a picture of a little kid that looked happy, was celebrating, and put, "We're going to get free money" on the meme because people were celebrating that they're going to get free money from the stimulus check. There's no racist connotations behind it. Then people are seeing the meme, and they're seeing the color of the child in the meme, and assuming that he's racist because only black people want to get free money. No, when did that happen? I like free money too.
Dog, that
We all
$1,200
like free
was
money.
grateful in my wallet.
I know. I got $2,400 because I'm married. And that was like huge. That's a big deal for people in the middle class.
But did you know that that's not free money, right?
Yeah, we
it's-
know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of our money back
his,
that you
his
guys
little,
steal.
his little boy
Okay.
has to pay it
Yeah.
all back.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even get the money
Yeah.
for him. Like I said, I only got $2,400. I
It's
should have
the-
got 29.
It's the cancel culture we're in, dude.
But it's
And it is what
It
it
is.
is.
It's been amazing to me. There's been articles upon articles written about a meme shared on social media by Jim Lucas, who had zero intentions of racism behind it, and I just don't understand. I don't even see where it comes from. Is my gripe? I don't see where the racism is at. If Jim was to start making memes and posting memes and discluding any meme that had a black person in it, he'd started looking at pictures and going, "I'm not posting this picture because there's a black person in this picture." That's far more racist than what he did by not posting things than because of the color of the person's skin.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for Representative Lucas, it's just gotten to the point where anything that he does is going to be under the microscope.
And like I said before,
it's part
Bobby,
of
I'm sorry that you came on the episode right as this is happening. I don't want you to get tied up with it. These are just my personal opinions. I've been watching this all go down. I know who Jim Lucas is. I know what he stands for, and that's not at all it. Jim Lucas is a true conservative that stands behind the Constitution and equal rights for all people.
Yeah, I think Jim does not run through a. Jim's thoughts are his own, right? Jim doesn't have a third party filtering what Jim does, so he's a representative of the people of his district, and he believes legitimately what he's doing. But I think anything that doesn't meet the what socially is acceptable, he's going to continue to see the backlash from the Indianapolis media and those that like to raise money on his.
And also just like every other thing that is said on this podcast, I could be wrong. I don't have the life experience of a person of color in the United States. I don't know what that is like. I could be wrong. And if someone vehemently disagrees with me, I said it that way, I'm going to keep saying
Always.
it.
That's the way Dakota says vehemently.
Then you can send me
Vehemently.
a direct message and explain it to me. I'm open to hearing other thoughts because I'm not tied down to any of that. I just know that intent matters, and Jim's intent was not to post a racist.
We are in a clickbait world. We look at things in headlines. Intent doesn't matter in the world of media or fundraising or anger or cancel culture or clicking. None of that applies.
It's been frustrating because I know how principled of a man he is, and to see anything that he posts get 500-600 comments of you're a racist, POS, like I hate you, resign. It's ridiculous.
People don't have conversations in person. Everybody's a Superman behind a keyboard as well. That happens too. Real quick, I noticed one of my old coworkers, long time ago, different lifetime, Adam Lingle, who's the grand poobah over at the Boar's Head now. He's in the chat checking us out. Adam and I were rebar brothers 1,000 years ago. So what's up, Adam? Good to see you in there. Real quick from my side, thank you guys very much for joining us. Really happy that Bobbi was here and did the show with us. 2 more weeks left in the candidate series. And we got to thank Wyland's Flowers. Boss Hog of Liberty Candidate Series is sponsored by Wyland's Flowers, 407 South Main Street, Newcastle, Indiana. Always at wylandsflowers.net for a list of flower arrangements and options. Wyland's offers contact-free flowers delivered in our area. Wyland's is taking every precaution possible to ensure the health and safety of their clients, employees, and partners. They have flowers for any occasion, as we talked about, Dakota and I. Both of our weddings were Wyland flower affairs. And I've been told that Wyland's has been doing contact-free delivery since before it was cool. So with that, we appreciate it very much, everybody.
I have one more thing.
Oh, no, it's too late, Guffey. It's over.
It's the most powerful thing ever.
You ruined it.
Korean baseball has started, which means Guffey has started gambling again. Thank the Lord.
Wow. I'm glad you interrupted the show for your addiction.
I got to let the people know. Korean baseball, 5:30 in the morning.
NASCAR at Darlington this weekend. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at WeAreLibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to WeAreLibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeAreLibertarians.com.